This is going to be probably the greatest competition Elon Musk is going to face in regard to Twitter. I mean, as you mentioned, there is at least the threat of a lawsuit. I mean, I don't think it would be Musk if there wasn't at least the threat of a lawsuit, and that's going to be an interesting development there. One thing I do think Twitter benefits from here, it's the amplification of the platform. It's been around for a while, right? Its reach, it's greater than just its user base. I mean, it's part of the zeitgeist. And I think that matters a lot here in that changing consumer behavior is really hard. And so ultimately, I could envision a world where actually Threads and Twitter both exist. But I think the greater question, at least in regard to Twitter, is how much more can it grow from here? And I think that Threads is a real threat to that.
So ultimately then, Jason, is Threads the Twitter killer or the Twitter clone?
Well, I think it's probably more the latter than the former. Anytime I hear is this the something killer, I tend to take the opposite side of the argument and think, well, it's probably not going to kill it because you're telling me that this other thing is really so powerful and so widely used to begin with. And I do believe that, again, with Twitter is so ingrained in our culture today, I think there is something there that keeps it protected. It's done a very good job of staying relevant through the years. But there is also no question about it. I mean, Threads looks like it is very similar to Twitter in a lot of ways, and I think that's something that ultimately will help it succeed as a part of Instagram. I think it's actually going to be very complementary to Instagram. And when you look at Instagram as a platform, I mean, you're talking about 2 billion users, essentially. I mean, all they really need to do is capture 1 of every 5 of those users, and Threads is essentially as big as Twitter already. Again, though, it remains to be seen whether or not the world essentially begins to use Threads as that communications platform that Twitter has grown so strong with over the years.
And is this going to be a platform that will make Meta money? Because, as I understand it, there are no ads on Twitter, at least not for now. Will the advertisers come?
I believe the advertisers will eventually come. I think that the size of the audience really commands that, right? And again, when you look at the size of Instagram today, they don't have to really capture a whole lot of those users in order to make Threads a compelling advertising platform. So I suspect in time, we will see advertisers come. I don't know in the near term that it makes that big of a difference for Meta, the business. I mean, if you look at the company today, it generates $120 billion in revenue. If you look at Twitter at its peak before Musk bought it out, it was around $5 billion in revenue. That was before all of this happened, right? Twitter's a mess today. I think we can all agree it's making some progress, but you have to assume that of that $5 billion that it was generating in advertising revenue, let's cut that in half.